In the name of Allah Almighty, who is the most forgiving and is the most beneficent, this is James and I welcome on my YouTube channel. This is the first video on 7 deadly sins taken from Dr. Faustus, play written by the star of Renaissance, Christopher Marlowe. This is one of the most important topics in English literature, and I have taken help from Sir Muhammad Ibrahim Khokhar, who is Assistant Professor in Department of English, Shah Abdul Latif University. Dr. Faustus is one of the most famous plays in history of English dramas. And Dr. Faustus is a genius man. He serves people, he wants to complete his wishes and wills, and he is prey to various his tragic flaws, and then he falls prey to the Satan. But when he observed him, he was kind of a good man. And once he sees his books in his library, then he observes different human professions. He observes religion, law, medicine and logic and reason. Then he thinks of black magic. He wants to choose black magic as his field, as he wants to know about it, because he wants to serve his ambitions. He wants to enjoy the pleasure, the greater power that could be received from the dark souls, and then he invites the satanic souls and Lucifer. In an agreement, he exchanged outright power, and he sells out his soul to the Satan. He takes period of 24 years and then he enjoys all the pleasure of desire. And then he is introduced to the 7 deadly sins, which conclude the human life into hell. And among them, there is a pride, covetousness, wrath, envy, gluttony, sloth and lechery. These are the 7 deadly sins. Pride, we know that it's simple, but I'm going to define pride with the words of Christopher Marlowe and the dialogues of Dr. Faustus. The pride is explained: I am pride, I disdain to have any parents, I am like to Ovid's flea, I can creep into every corner of the ranch. Sometimes like a Pravake, I sit upon her brow, or like a fan of feathers, I kiss her lips, indeed I do. What do I not? But fie, what a saint is here. I will not speak another word except the ground were perfumed and covered with the cloth of Ares. Pride defines itself that I am the pride, I am the greatest of all, and I want to live a luxurious life. I want perfumed grounds, carpets for my welcome. And I do not have parents. It means that I do not have foundations. And I have access all over the world. I can go to any heart in the world. I can reach to the lips of most beautiful women in the world. I can reach to the hearts of wise men in the world, and I can reach to the heights of ever glorious empires. And then I do not like to be at a place which is not decorated. I want to sit on a sofa or a bed which is decorated with the roses, but a place where you do not find any luxury, I do not want to be there. Proud proves to be downfall for the empires. It destroyed the fearless armies. And even when Alexander the Great became proudy and he thought himself to be the king of the world, and he thought himself as an unsurmountable man, then he was defeated by a simple Indian king. It was not in real mean a king who destroyed Alexander the Great, but it was pride. Moreover, the second sin is covetousness. It is also called the greed. Now let's see how Christopher Marlowe writes covetousness. He says, I'm covetous days begotten of an old child in an old leathern bag, and might I have my wish, I would desire that this house and all the people in it were turned to the gold, that might lock you up in my good chest, O my sweet gold. Greed has excessive desire of having gold, the treasures of the world, the luxuries of the world. He is same like pride, but greed has some other ambitions too. Greed does not want to see himself as a poor or itself as a poor, because he wants every luxury of life, every treasure of life. He wants every ring that kings wear in their hands, or every jewel that women wear. And this is the greed. And greed is also one of the causes behind the demise of man in this world. We must train ourselves and we must stop ourselves not to be greedy. If we fall prey to greed, then our downfall will soon become our fate, and we will leave nothing but shame behind us or after us. Then it is wrath. Wrath means anger, extreme anger. So let's see how it defines itself. I'm wrath, I'm anger. I had neither father nor mother, means I do not have any roots. I do not have any roots. I have not taken birth. It means I leap out of a lion's mouth when I was a scare half an hour old, and ever since I have run up down the world with this case of rapiers, wounding myself when I had nobody to fight withal. This is a different quality that anger shows to the world. It says that I permanently want an enemy, a person in adversity to whom I could fight. By fighting I get pleasure. I become pleased when I fight to the people. When I find component and when I want to try to harm them. Then it says that when nobody is there, when I do not have any enemy, I bite myself, I sting myself. Means a person who does extreme anger, he falls prey to his own disquality, that is anger. And we see that there are so many medical disadvantages too. A person who always does anger becomes a blood pressure patient, and he becomes stressful all the time. Stress and blood pressure will directly affect his mind and all major organs of his body. All the deadly sins are disadvantageous to the human life, career, and human mind. And then the fourth sin is envy. Envy is said to be jealousy. I'm envy begotten to a chimney sweeper and an ouster wife. Mean this is a dark soul. Okay. I cannot read and therefore wish all books were burned. Envy cannot read. So it wants that all the books, all the education should not be given to the people. And further, let's see what kind of demands envy has. I'm lean with seeing others eat. Means I'm lean, I'm quite slim. And then when I see people eating, I do not want them to eat. That all might die, okay. Oh, that there would come a famine through all the world, that all might die, and I live alone. And then shouldest see how fit I would be, but must those sit and stand come down with a vengeance. And he says that when I see people getting education, when I see people getting meal, so I get jealous. I do not want them to do this. And the most important thing in this character, in this sin is that envy wants this world would be affected by famine, and all the people in this world would die. And I live alone in this universe, and I would see human beings under the graves. So this is envy. See it. how fatal this sin is. And this is very common in our life. We see that people have envy in their hearts, they become jealous, they don't want other people to do progress, and even they waste their own time. They keep these all sins in their heart, they destroy themselves, they do not do this to the others. Okay, and then the gluttony. Okay, gluttony is excessive eating, the habit of excessive eating. Who I say, I'm gluttony, my parents are dead, and the devil a penny they have left me. And devil me penny they have left me, but a bare pension that is 30 meals a day and 10 beggars. Gluttony says that my ancestors used to work in food industry and they have served in all kind of food. They have taste of all kind of food, and means my nature has become like that I want to taste each and everything that is available in food. I want to visit countries, I do want to waste money, and I do want to ruin my health, but I will not stop eating. We have seen that there are so many people in Bollywood, Hollywood, and even in Lollywood, they have destroyed themselves, their bodies and their career just by overeating and overdrinking. They were indulged into the unnecessary things. I do not want to take their names, but you will observe this disquality in many people in our society too. People who become too much famous and they earn a lot of wealth, and then they fall prey to such daily sins. But if people among their ranks do not fall prey to such sins, they live forever and they become the triumph among all their ranks. Okay, and then the sloth. And with it we have sloth. Sloth means laziness. I'm sloth, I was begotten on a sunny bank, means sloth was enjoying its life on a sunny bank, where I have lain ever since, and you have done me great injury to bring me from thence. Let me be carried thither again by gluttony and lechery. I will not speak another word for a king's ransom. Now, laziness defines it that I was quite comfortable when I was sitting on a bank, on a sunny bank, and I was enjoying all my life like that. Laziness wants to do no work. It wishes to do no service to the humans, but it wishes to have a luxurious life. A luxurious life, what we mean that where all comforts of worldly life are available, and even people cook for you, people serve you, you do not dare to move from bed, all the day you just sleep. And then this defines that I am accompanied by gluttony and lechery. Lechery is the last sin. I'm going to define it. But you have understood gluttony. So a person who's lazy, he will be affected by two more deadly sins. One is gluttony, means overeating. The second is lechery. Lechery means adultery, the desire of making unethical sexual relationship with the others and having a lot of relationships at once. And we know that what are effects of these kinds of relationships. So sloth is found especially in the people or in the nations who are destroyed, who do not pay heed towards the progress and who are not habitual of hard working and doing work by themselves. They want shortcuts, they want other people to do their work, and they do not want to serve anybody in this world. Even they do not serve themselves. This is the deadly sin. We see that people in Pakistan and mostly the youngsters, they are leading this life. Even my heart become painful when parents ask their sons and their daughters to rest all the day. They just sleep all the day and they do not perform any duty at all. So this is not means actually luxurious life, but these are the sins in terms they are devoiding the progress, they are dividing, they are ruining the life of their children. This practice should not be done at all. Even if you see the Western countries, in the Western societies, or even the nations who are progressive, we see our neighbors, Persia and Arab countries as well, they are not indulged in most of the deadly sins. That is why they are doing progress. And the last sin is lechery, means adultery, having sexual relationships. So let's see how Christopher Marlowe defines it. Who I, sir, I am one that loves an inch of raw mutton better than an ale of a friend stock fish, and the first letter of my name begins with L. Simply, it defines that I love the pleasure and I love all the things that are connected with desires. Desires means I'm connecting it with, definitely with having adulterous relationship with the others. This happens when people ruin their life. They break the relationship of trust. We are taking simple examples. If a husband breaks the trust of a wife and he does the extramarital relationships, affairs, and he sleeps and he does all these wrongs, then what kind of situation he will face? His children will be affected, his family will be affected, and even a complete family will be destroyed. I'm not saying this. Christopher Marlowe is saying that. And this is considered as a deadly sin. Even I have a sonnet of William Shakespeare whose theme is on sex. So how William Shakespeare defines this sin and how he denies it, I will recite his original lines. That is sonnet number 129, the expense of spirit and a waste of shame. This is also on the 7th deadly sin. You must read it. Okay? So you can stop the screen and you can read it all. I will recite a few lines for you. The expense of spirit and a waste of shame is a lust in action, and until action lust is perjured, murderous, bloody, full of blame, savage, extreme, rude, cruel, not to trust, enjoyed no sooner but despised, strayed, past reason hunted. In the very concluding lines, what he says, let's listen. All this the world well knows, yet none knows well. All this the world well knows, yet none knows well, to shun the heaven that leads men to this hell. What he calls, how he defines. William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, and all literary men were not religious ones, but they defined human nature. They observed the human psychology and they painted down whatever is good for human. We must understand literature and we must understand the works of these authors, by which we can save our lives, by which we can save the life of our nation, and by which we can establish a good society. So you must love the authors, you must love English dramas, you must love all kind of literature, whether it is Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai Rahmatullah Alai or William Shakespeare. You must appreciate them and you must study them. So I hope that you have understood 7 deadly sins, and I try to define them well, and I hope that you have got the theme that what are exact deadly sins and how they affect our life. Thank you so much.